Good morning, guys. You guys heard my dog in the background, huh? Yep. That's why I got a couple minute of late start. Had to put the dog in the cage. All right, market opens in a couple seconds, and we're dumping a little bit. So this is the CPI news candle. I have an anchored view up there, and we're kind of rejecting from there. One thing I like to watch for with news candles is a retracement of like where it came off, where it started. So that's right there at the white line. We also have VWAP right there. So that's an interesting spot. But like I posted in Discord, we have lots of stuff going on in the world right now. So I'm going to let things kind of shake out at the open. Could be a crazy start. So I'm not going to be super interested in like just jumping into a trade right away. How's everyone doing this morning, by the way? Did anyone take any trades during CPI or afterwards? So obviously CPI news made the market pump. So we could expect a similar move with the New York Open. Let's see what we get. So looking at some overnight low levels. Here's Asia low. Over here we got London low, just for some possible liquidity sweeps if that's what's going to happen. The London session was pretty choppy. Makes sense. Probably just waiting for news to come out. All right, we're coming down towards VWAP right now. I'm not going to be super quick to enter a trade, even if it does come down there, though, because, like I said, the news candle retracement would be a little bit lower at like 910. Pretty choppy open so far. No clear direction yet. Good morning, everyone coming into the chat. What's going on? Seems like the market's still kind of processing CPI. Still figuring out where it wants to go. So this yellow line, like I was saying before, that is anchored from the CPI news candle. So that just, for me, kind of shows a little bit of like who's in control, who has the momentum. Starting to break up a little bit. We got our first 5-minute candle of the open, and it's definitely bullish. Moving on up. I'm leaning for longs, obviously, but wondering how far we're going to pull back first. I would rather get in on a little bit of a pullback. All right, Waffles, have a good day. Sitting up at yesterday's session value area high. That is true. Fact. That has been back tested, you guys. If you hit the like button, then you'll have a green P&L day. It's true. $26K has been a tough egg to crack. I broke above it yesterday, but it's been stuck underneath. Once it finally breaks it and like holds above, we're gonna hit all-time highs, I feel like. But that's kind of the area that we're pulling back from right now. I'm watching for an opportunity to enter long. Like I said, I just don't want to chase it from up here. This gray zone is a pretty good support resistance zone. So if it holds above there, it might not retrace. So far, it's still holding above that New York anchored VWAP. All right, I'm grabbing along at 998.75. Going to be quick to put my stops at break even as soon as I can. Let's see if it comes back up to high of day and possibly continues. All right, stop loss and profit. Gonna watch and see what happens at high of day. If we start to sell off, I'll close it real quick. But this thing might just run. All right, coming up to high of day. Let's see if sellers show up or if this thing just explodes up and takes all those stop losses out. Trailing a little bit tighter. That way I can at least lock in some profits if it doesn't keep going. All right, stepped out. I don't usually trail my stop losses that tight, but in the first couple minutes of the open, I'm definitely more aggressive with locking it in. All right, let's see what else we get. 2 more minutes until the 15-minute opening range is set. G-Man, what's up? Good morning. Wow, that was wild. Now we are dumping. G-Man is long on gold. Of course you are. I hope no one's trying to short gold. Shorting something that continues to make all-time highs is not a smart plan. All-time high on gold is what, 2640? Or sorry, not 2640. 4640, something like that. We're not too far away from that. It's probably going to hit that and then keep going. Would not be surprised if that happens. All right, so we had that big drop. Now we're just chopping around back in the middle of the range for now. So what I'm waiting for is a reaction. If it gets down to the bottom of this range, I want to see what happens at VWAP and the opening range low. If we get a strong bounce, it could be holding this level and we're going to continue higher. If it does not hold this, then there's lots of stuff, lots of liquidity below that we could go grab. So we could be looking for a possible short down there. But like I said, for now, it's kind of chopping in the middle. It did not quite grab the London high liquidity, which is another thing I'm watching for. This is London high, and if you zoom in, you can see it. The 15-minute opening range high didn't quite tap it. That's not what I would watch for in a liquidity grab. Like usually it actually wicks above or below it and then moves. So this is possibly setting up for a fake 15-minute opening range breakout and liquidity grab where it'll like come up above, act like it's breaking out, grab that London high liquidity, and then drop back down. So if we get back up to the top of the range, I could be looking for that too. Let's see what the market gives us. Good afternoon from Germany. Awesome. How's it going? Gold to the moon. Gold just broke all-time high again. I don't have silver up, but it might be doing the same. Gold and silver have just been crazy lately. Oh, we got two Germanys in the house. What's up? Yeah, gold and silver are the things to be watching right now. I don't have the guts to trade silver yet. Lots of movement. Could quickly blow some accounts. I'm starting to get the hang of gold a little bit, but I don't know if I'm ready for silver. Nice, G-Man. 2,200 on silver in one of your XFAs, and that was probably with like 2 micros or something crazy. Well, still kind of chopping around in the middle of the 15-minute opening range. I'm not seeing anything on MQ that I like right now. Really just watching for trades on both ends of the range. Like I said, if it comes down here, it could like quickly wick below VWAP, touch the bottom of the range, and then quickly get bought back up. That'd be a good sign for longs. Or top of the range, double liquidity grab, and then take a short from there. Kind of just in a wait and see mode. Yeah, Old Trader, last night, I noticed it actually on some of my prop firms when I was taking a couple of gold trades. Gold, micro gold was not executing properly, and I guess it was happening with silver too. But it's working now, at least for me. I don't know if Lucid accounts are different, but it's working on some trade of eights. But yeah, if they still have that notice up that says don't trade it, then don't trade it. Listen to them. Because if they tell you don't trade it and then something messes up, they might not fix your account if they're like, dude, we warned you, right? All right. Coming down towards VWAP and maybe the bottom of the range. So I'm not going to be quick to like just take a long if it touches it. Because like I said, if we're not going to hold here, there's quite a bit below and we could just keep dumping. But if buyers show up, could be a decent opportunity here. I'm watching ES on another screen. ES has actually broken out below its 15-minute opening range low. ES is coming up to its overnight low, so it could be doing a little liquidity grab. If ES's overnight low sweeps liquidity at the same time as this 15-minute opening range low, it could be a good sign for bounces. Or it's just going to bounce straight off of VWAP and not even come to the bottom of the range. What's up with that, NQ? That wasn't very nice. That's what I get for staying patient. Runs without me. That was rude. And now we're running to the moon again. Stay patient for the right trade, you guys. This is in my opinion, hard to trade. Kind of just wicky all over the place. Wow. I don't like this. So even if I did take that VWAP bounce, I probably would have gotten stopped out at break even because it jumped up and then just crashed back down. This is interesting. That 5-minute chart is ugly. There's no continuation anywhere. G-Man, are you still in your longs on gold? It made a new all-time high and then it started to retrace a little bit. Yeah, I figured that was a pretty big retracement. It would have hit my stop loss, trailing stop loss too. Yeah, Jeff, that's kind of what I'm watching for. Like I want to take longs, but I think we need to go lower first. Still not bouncing cleanly off of any of these range levels. All right, NQ is starting to make its way back to the bottom of the range. Choppy, choppy. You guys, it might be one of those days where we don't really get a true move until a couple hours into the open because it's still kind of processing the data release from an hour and a half ago. That is possible. Sitting at VWAP again. I don't like longs from here. I would rather have it come down to the bottom of the range. Also, ES is kind of floating in the middle of some levels too. So not really a clean spot for longs in my opinion. Gold rejected that previous day high, which was all-time high, pretty hard. All right. NQ's dumping now. ES hit its overnight low. So let's see if it's a liquidity grab and we bounce. Or if this thing keeps going lower. Definitely looks like it's going lower. So far, this 15-minute candle is definitely going to close outside the bottom of the range. So if it comes back up and retests, we could possibly look for shorts and maybe target down to Asia low. Let's see though. Like I said, still staying patient. Pretty good bounce there. that 5-minute candle has not closed outside of the range yet, so that's something to watch for in terms of trying to take shorts. Be careful of shorts if it closes bullish like this. ES swept its overnight low and it's starting to close back above overnight lows too. I'm watching to see what happens here. Thinking about a long, honestly. All right, 941.25 took a long. Let's see if it holds. It's going right back into that chop. Gonna put my stop loss a little bit outside of the range because if it keeps going, dropping below the 15-minute opening range low, that's not a good sign. So, a couple reasons I grabbed along. I'll show you guys. It bounced off of yesterday's value area low, which a lot of times is a strong level. It retraced that CPI candle, which is pretty common with news. Strong buy up, strong volume. And then also watching ES grabbed that overnight low and swept it and had a pretty strong buy up off of it. Could be wrong still, but that's why I entered along here. So far, I'm not loving it. Come on. Just playing with my emotions here. That's gonna stop me out. Okay. Let's see. See if it goes and grabs some of that liquidity lower. London low and Asia low. Maverick, you have a short bias? Yeah? I mean, it's looking pretty saggy right now. Buyers aren't putting up much of a fight yet. All right. Going lower. Let's see what happens down here at 869-ish. That's the London low. And then if it keeps going, we have Asia low at 845. So we can watch and see what happens there. You think it'll bounce, Kimmer? Yeah. I mean, overall, like if you zoom out to the 1 hour or any of the higher time frames, most of the higher time frames, it's still bullish. But there's also a lot of room to retrace yesterday's move at the 8:30 open or the 9:30 open. Like if you zoom out to the 1 hour, that big old candle from the New York Open yesterday, I mean, potentially it could come back all the way to like 750s. And it would still be bullish. So there's a lot of room to go down. Those last two 1 hour closes don't look great for longs. Let me put up a volume profile for the overnight session. So point of control from overnight, like it was super choppy. Could get it bounced somewhere around here. I don't know. I'm with Maverick. I am not seeing anything I like right now. Really, there's no continuation in either direction. I don't think anyone in a long or short position is winning right now. But like I said a while ago, the true move could happen later today. Or right now. You haven't seen anything you like that won't just stop you out? Yeah. That's the theme of the day. It's like you get one good candle in your direction and then it just quickly wicks the other way and hits a stop loss. If you guys are taking trades, consider sizing down, be careful, but be selective. Still hovering at yesterday's value area low and that overnight point of control that I pointed out. No sign of buyers showing up though. To me, it looks like it wants further down. Good morning, Verisat. What's going on? I like that rule. You have a rule that you won't trade if the wicks are half the body of the candle. On the 5 minute or 1 minute, or what time frame are you talking about? Five minute? Yeah, that's smart. You just eyeball it. You don't get your ruler out and like put it up on the screen. Break out your measuring stick. Continuing to drop. All right. Approaching that London low. And then we got Asia low below. I'm not too excited about longing this. I'm also watching ES, and ES has already dropped below its overnight lows and is continuing to just dump. So we'll see if I do take a long, though. I'm going to wait for some confirmation. There you go, Maverick. Did you get in on that? You entered? Are you still holding? Or did you take profit at that London low? Man, you guys, if this thing stays heavy and it doesn't bounce at Asia low, it could fill that gap on this candle and come back down to like the 760s, 750s. If it is going to drop, though, it might take a little bit of work to kind of chop around here. Because like I said, there was lots of volume traded there last night. Pretty big zone. But I am not seeing signs of longs at this point. Buyers could show up later, but they ain't here yet. Well, that was the London low bounce. That was pretty lame. And now we see what happens at Asia low. In other news, gold is coming back down to VWAP. Might get a bounce here. I'm watching. Might just take a trade on gold. Why not? There's Asia low. Are you going to bounce NQ or are we just dumping? I'm zoomed in on the 1 minute chart so we can see if there is a bounce and no dice. There you go, Maverick. Good trade. All right, I see you, NQ. You're trying to bounce at Asia low. Are you going to hold? Or is this just a little temporary move before we dump even further? Looks pretty weak to me. I'm also watching volume down on the bottom of the screen. That does not really look like the volume I'd like to see if this level is going to be defended. I think we're going further down, you guys. What platform is being used? This is TradingView. So, like I told you guys, I'm watching ES on another screen, and this is part of the reason I'm not super excited about longing NQ anytime soon. If I put on these key levels, you can see this was the overnight low. It just dropped straight from there, and it's kind of hovering. This is yesterday's low on ES. There's not a whole lot in between those two. So ES is kind of sitting in that fair value gap from yesterday's New York Open. So I don't see any signs of a bounce on ES. And NQ and ES are usually in sync. So looks like more downside. We'll get a bounce at some point. In about 4 minutes, our initial balance 60 minute range is set. So we'll see if maybe we get a retrace back up to VWAP or one of these levels up here, and then we can short. But I'm not looking to catch a falling knife and take a long on anything yet. Oh, 300 orders at 86 on gold. I was actually eyeballing along because it came down to VWAP and the 50% retracement of this move. And you know how it works when those things line up. Oh, they got taken off. That's interesting. Interessante. The only thing I don't like about the long on gold is that it seems like it has just slowed down. All right, I'm doing it. I'm going to show you guys this trade. NQ just wasn't giving me an opportunity. So I got in a bounce on gold. Let me move my screen over so you can see it. So gold bounced off of VWAP, and like I was saying, if the 50% retracement and VWAP line up at the same spot, my win rate on that trade is pretty good. I would have to check my stats and tell you guys later, but it's in the high 60s. Let me get VWAP on here. I thought I had VWAP on this chart. I guess not. Let's make it blue. All right, so that blue line right there, that's VWAP. So it bounced at VWAP, and I think you can do Fibonacci's in here. If you do a 50% retracement of this move, it's right in that same zone. So that's why I got in along on it. I don't know if we're going to get continuation, though. It might come down and just hit my stop loss right now. Gosh, everything's just no continuation. That's the theme of the day, man. Gonna keep trailing my stop loss, though. At least lock in something. I kind of want to hold this until the high of day or leave some runners for all-time highs. Because you guys know how all-time high days go. Like, once it breaks the high, it kind of just goes into price discovery. So this thing could just move. I'm going to take partials just in case, because I don't know, it doesn't seem like it has a whole lot of momentum. What's NQ doing? I don't see any reason for it to start bouncing right now. It's already in this fair value gap right here. Might as well just go down into it, right? I mean, it doesn't have to fill it, I know, but I don't know. As I say that, it just skyrockets back up. What kind of levels do you guys have on NQ? Where do you see it maybe finding support? Getting a pretty good bounce here. Oh, just catching up on the chat. Hello from Luanda. Wow. Luanda's in Africa, isn't it? I could be wrong. You don't hear about Luanda very often. But that's cool. Welcome. I don't think I've ever had anyone from Africa before. Actually, I take that back. I've had one person from South Africa before. Angola. Okay. Awesome. Welcome. Verisat 660. You think NQ is going to dump all the way down to 660? Oh, man. That is, I have that marked off as previous week point of control at 676. That usually ends up being a pretty good support spot. Still in gold, but not with any sort of momentum. You think 800 was a low day? Nobody knows. That was a super nice bounce, though. All right, we do have our initial balance set. This is our initial balance low. So, interesting spot here, you guys. We have our overnight VWAP, our New York anchored VWAP, our CPI anchored VWAP, and our 15-minute opening range low all colliding at the same spot at 931. If sellers show back up here, this could be a nice spot for shorts. So let's see what happens when we get up here, if we get up here. What? Where have I been? You heard that I went to Aruba? I mean, I would like to be there, but no, I didn't hear I was going to Aruba. Did I win a free trip to Aruba or something? I missed that one. All right, gold dropped back down and stopped me out. Done with gold. Dang, man. It might not come back up to here. Got your first payout with Lucid. Let's go. Congrats. Take note, Marvel. That's exciting. Yeah, and their payouts are ridiculously fast. 3 minutes is even slow. I actually posted a video one time, like showing the timestamps for my deposit from when I requested to when it actually sent me the email saying that it's like in your bank account. It was less than 60 seconds because the time that I requested it to the time that my email came through, it was within the same minute on the clock. So less than a minute. It was wild. Oh. I don't know, guys. I kind of wanted to wait for it to go back up to these VWAPs up here and take a short, but it's not moving. No, take no marvel. That's actually pretty common with a lot of prop firms where they only let you do a 50% payout because they want you to build a buffer. If they just allow you to withdraw everything, then you're not going to have a buffer to keep trading. So they're just trying to find traders to maintain a long-term relationship with. Like Top Step is the same way. Alpha Futures is the same way. Tradeify, I mean, they all word it a little bit different. Like Tradeify, for example, with their select daily accounts, you can take daily payouts, but it's only anything above the $2,100 buffer or whatever account size you have. Your buffer is a different size. But they all want you to build some sort of buffer before you take a payout. Yeah, and they'll never let you take the full amount until you go live. Or like some of them, like Top Step or Alpha Futures, for example, after 30 days, after like 30 green days, then you can have access to 100% of your capital. But they definitely make you prove it and prove yourself and show consistency before you can start taking bigger payouts. Double bottom on NQ. Yeah, I'm watching. I mean, if it comes down to this initial balance low and it holds, that could be a really good sign to enter longs. Because the selling pressure has slowed for sure. Maybe I should rephrase that. Volume in general has slowed. Kind of what I'm watching for is it to retest this initial balance low and maybe wick below and then get some volume out of that move. If that happens and volume picks up at that level, I wouldn't be opposed to taking a long. I don't want to enter a long on this chop though, because there's no clear direction right now. Could be consolidating to continue to dump. It could be consolidating to continue up. Yeah, I'm with you, Stockfather. I do like to watch the volume though. Like if that's why I zoom in on the 1 minute chart sometimes so you can see what level it's actually increasing at. But that just shows me that there's lots of interest at a certain level if volume increases. So the fact that it's kind of just like slowly grinding up is not convincing to me. It makes me think that it could possibly come back down, grab some of that liquidity before continuing up. So I'll wait for a better entry. Might give it to us here. Let's see what happens. Do I take my trades on the 5 minute? So I look at the 1 minute and the 5 minute for most of my trades. Like obviously I zoom out to the 15 minute and the 1 hour and stuff too. But I like to stay on the 5 minute while I'm sitting here watching trades for the most part, because it helps me like stay more patient and not get stuck in every 1 minute candle. But then I will zoom into the 1 minute to watch volume like I was saying a minute ago. Take note, Marvel. Yeah, you can take full payouts on Lucid Live. Like daily payouts. Whatever you make, you can withdraw. You think it's taken rest to continue down? Yeah, that's possible. That's, again, why I watch volume. Watch for an increased interest at this level, a wick below with a quick buy up with volume out of it. That would make me interested in a long. Something like that. Let's see what happens on this 1 minute candle. I like it. I like it. Bullish engulfing 1 minute candle. Come on. Lots of volume. Are we gonna hold it? Are we gonna hold it? All right, 841. I entered long. Let's go. Come on, NQ. Come on. Let's go. Targeting back up to this VWAP convergence. 915-ish maybe. Let's see how it goes. Where is our point of control so far? Point of control is right where we're at. Value area high for the current session is up here at 965, which is also yesterday's point of control. So that's interesting. Interesting spot. Come on, continuation. Go. No, take no marvel. They still charge commission on trades. It's not like real live account commissions, but there's some sort of transaction fee with Tradeovate, even for a sim funded account. Yup, gotta break above this 850 level and actually hold. I do like that 1 minute nearly bullish engulfing candle. It almost retraced the entire range that we were chopping in. And volume supporting it. So I feel pretty good about it. When I place my trade, am I locked in or can I adjust on the fly? What do you mean by that? Like my entry point, the dollar amount that I bought in at, can I adjust that? No, you can't adjust that. You basically just, wherever you buy in, that's your position. Sorry, I'm not sure what you're asking. My bad, guys. I realized I didn't put it on the right screen for you. There you go. So, this VWAP spot, 913, 915, somewhere in there. Gonna take off 3 there, but this is pretty bullish, so I'm gonna hold a couple runners just for the fun of it. You think we're going to have a double break on IB, G-Man? Is that an edge full stat that you're seeing? Can I adjust my stop loss? Yes, I can. So over here on the right side, if you, assuming you have trade of 8, you can just drag it like that. Let me fix this. There we go. No, I don't mind the newbie questions. Ask away. I'm happy to help. How do you get the stop loss to show up on the chart on trade of 8? So the reason that you don't see me clicking the button is I'm actually copy trading from a different account. But what you do is you have this order thing up here, and you'll type in like however many contracts you want, and then you click on the screen and you, wherever you want the order to be, and you sell 5 as a stop loss, or if you want to place a limit order above price, you do sell 5 limit, buy 5 stop, or sell 5 limit, and that's what this line shows. Did that answer your question? 1987, Mako. Take note, Marvel, how many contracts? I risk $200 per trade, so the contract size will vary depending on what my stop loss is. So I use the risk to reward tool in TradingView. And when you adjust your stop loss, the quantity will adjust. All right, taking off 2 of the 5 at that VWAP spot. Let me bring it down a little bit because it's actually more like 915, 916, something like that. And then we'll see if this thing just keeps running. Maybe hold back to initial balance high. Leave a runner to 952. What's going on at 952? Yeah, that was kind of where a lot of that chop was earlier in this session. We have our value area high at 960. Do you have an EMA or something that you're watching? What are you getting 952 from? I don't know. We have our initial balance high all the way back up at 26,000, 2643. Who knows? It could get back up there. You have an order block up there. This thing's looking strong. came down into that fair value gap that I was talking about. It didn't go all the way down. It just bounced in the middle of it. Pretty much at the halfway point. Momentum is definitely slowing at this area. ES and NQ are both heading right back up to VWAP. So for this thing to continue, it has some resistance to get through, that's for sure. I don't want to let my bullish bias get in the way, because I'm like, man, this thing's going to go all the way back up to all-time high. I'm joking. But I'm wondering if I should just take full profit here. Similar story on QQQ also. Had that big, strong candle, and then momentum has slowed. Dang. Look at Apple. They had some sort of news release over the weekend, or maybe this morning, with like Gemini AI or something. I don't know. That might have been what that initial jump was at the open. Nvidia is looking like it's forming a bottom here and broke above VWAP. Let's see, let's see. You think it needs to retest Asia low again before next leg up? That's not a bad spot to retrace to. All of the VWAPs are starting to flatten out a little bit. Bull flag on the SPY chart. Yeah, lots of things are pointing towards more upside. I just know that I think this is something that I've talked to you guys about before, like struggling with in the past. Having some home run targets that don't ever get hit, and then it ends up hitting my trailing stop loss, and I'll end up getting like a 1-to-1 risk to reward instead of the 4-to-5 with all those unrealized profits that I had in my position. So I'm working on getting better at that and like taking profit when I see profit. Also, the last couple of weeks, I feel like NQ's just been tough to trade in terms of lack of continuation. So that is the battle going on in my head. Consolidating right under VWAP right here. What's it gonna be, NQ? Whatever the problem is, the answer is to size down. Amen to that. This is NQ, Steven. NQ, well, specifically MNQ. Good morning, good morning. $25,900, yeah. Pretty sure that's close to this high volume node anyway. If you zoom out, looking at like the hourly. Yeah, to get back through all this overnight chop might take a little bit of work. Still hovering here. I'm going to go ahead and take off those two contracts manually since it's not grabbing it yet. And I don't want to be mad at myself for letting it come back down to my stop loss. So at least took profit on 2 of them. And then stop loss for the remaining is in profit. Let's see how high it goes. If it breaks up above VWAP, like with volume, with momentum, I could see this thing possibly going back up to the initial balance high. What time is it over here? I'm in Central time zone, so for me it's 10:12. Eastern time is 11:12. How can you learn my opening range break strategy? I know one video for sure on it. So check my YouTube channel. There's a playlist called like my trading strategy or something like that, and it's listed on there. I know the thumbnail has 15-minute orb on there. And then honestly, there's lots of good ones out there, probably several that are better than mine. I shouldn't say probably, there are a lot better than mine. So just do a search in the Google search tab, or sorry, not Google, YouTube search tab for 15-minute orb strategy. Watch a bunch of them, because everyone teaches differently. Everyone has different like confirmations that they watch for. Like some people wait for a 5-minute candle closure outside of the range, and then they wait for the retest of the fair value gap or whatever. Like everyone's different, and I think it's important to find something that works for you. That's kind of how I learned how to trade myself and figured out my strategy, is just by watching hundreds and hundreds of different videos and different strategies and figuring out all the pieces that made sense in my brain and pieced it together into something that worked. So the reason I'm staying patient holding this is because selling pressure is not showing up. Like all I'm seeing, admittedly with my long biased eyes, perhaps, what I'm seeing is a consolidation to move beyond VWAP. Now, if sellers start to show up and we get a really fast red candle down with volume, that will change my mind. But right now, like I said, I'm just seeing consolidation for a move higher. That's why I'm still holding it. And then we have initial balance high up here. That would be the ultimate target if it happens. If this thing stays bullish. 26.43, somewhere up there. But we got to get a candle closure above VWAP and like get some continuation. ES is still stuck below VWAP. So I'm not convinced yet. CJ, I didn't think about that. We technically haven't broken either side of the range. That's a good point. So, hopefully we break the top side of the range, right? For my sake. No, I take that back. We did. That's why I got in, was the initial balance failed auction. Never mind. I need more coffee, you guys. I'm talking nonsense. All right, took off 40% of my position and gonna hold the rest. So my strategy on this is to hold it to initial balance high, but also to trail my stop. So I'm gonna keep trailing it as we continue higher. Right now, my stop loss is not very tight because VWAP is the spot where I think we could get a pullback if we are gonna get one. But once it breaks above that, I'll start trailing it a little bit tighter. Uh-oh, Verisat went short. Don't tell me that. I want it to go up. You're still thinking we're gonna break 800. We could, and if we're gonna drop, this is the spot to do it. I just don't see anything that's telling me sellers are here yet. Not today, bro. Not today. NQ's gonna be my friend today. Okay, Verisat. Well, whatever is going to happen, NQ's playing hard to get and making us wait for it. Might start rejecting. Right at that VWAP spot. It's getting stuck. Still watching that volume though. Like we had that one 1 minute candle that dropped, but you can see volume down here on the bottom. Volume did not really increase. So it was not a convincing selling candle. There could be another candle in the future in the next couple minutes that tells a different story. But I'm not concerned yet. Yeah, 11:30 Eastern time is definitely when I try to be done. This might be one of those trades where I just set it and forget it. Let it play out how it's going to play out. I've already taken some profits and my stop loss is in profit, so whatever happens, happens. Evac, that's tough to watch. You're learning patience here. You're like, this is painfully slow. Yeah, price action has just died. Why not trail my stop to secure more money? So I said a couple minutes ago, my thought was if we are going to get a pullback, it's going to be at this VWAP area. So I was giving it a little bit of room. But yeah, I don't want to let it pull back too far. I'm still watching though. I got a hand on it. I can 100% relate to that comment. I hate this market. Wait, I love it. I hate trading. Trading is so dumb. Oh, wait, I love it. All right, that hit my stop loss. I had it on a at 877. So I had trailed it back up a little bit. I still think this thing is going to go higher, but it just had to come down and grab some liquidity first, I guess. And now it's going to continue higher, of course. Verisat, that was a money trade, man. Good stuff. Yeah, that was a cash grab candle for sure. I like the phrasing for that. And now we're going to go back up to the initial balance high. Let's go. We had a couple people in the chat take that short. Good job, guys. All right, I think I'm going to call it there because I do think longs are the way to go, but at this point I would be chasing it because that was a 50-point candle. If I was to take an entry here, stop loss all the way down there, no thank you. I think I'll pass. Yeah, peach bud, of course it's going to go up now. Now that it stopped me out, it's going to go up, of course. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will be back later this week. And if you haven't already, join the Discord and keep chatting in there. Have a good one, guys.